We know that at noon, just before the killings began, that the state government was notified by people within the surrounding communities, as well as by members from the human rights observance organization, the FUNAI, that vehicles carrying groups of heavily armed men were approaching Ateab. The state government's response was that, quote, everything was under control.
If there has been any band that has withstood the test of time,
as long as you have people in the Supreme Court who remain to try to pass their quote-unquote morality over the masses, I think it's wrong. And whether anyone agrees with abortion or not, it's wrong.
it is Rage Against the Machine. They've been rocking since the early 90s, and yet still, many of the problems faced back then are prevalent today.
It is clear that we are once again at a crossroads.
But the challenges that we face, they go way beyond administrations, way beyond elections, way beyond every 4 years of pulling levers, way beyond that. Because this whole rotten system has become so vicious and cruel that in order to sustain itself, it needs to destroy entire countries and profit from their reconstruction in order to survive. And that's not a system that changes every 4 years. It's a system that we have to break down generation after generation after generation.
Bringing attention to the injustices, not just in the United States, but around the world, including but not limited to what the most powerful nation on the planet has done, inciting communities, killing the innocent, all in the name of imperialism. We all know the U.S. and its politicians would prefer to spend our tax dollars on defense contractors. Hell, Tupac Shakur has been telling us this for years. To put in perspective, the Peter G. Peterson Foundation, as of April 2024, wrote of the numbers. The U.S. dwarfs these 9 countries combined. In Rage's song, Bulls on Parade, this and much more is addressed. A track that has aged like a fine wine via the lack of progress in U.S. policy. In the opening lines, there's a reference to De La O. In addition, the bars that follow are sure to make the bodies drop. Drop and don't copy, don't call this a co-op. Genevieve de la O, a Mexican revolutionary, fought in the name of the Mexican people, joining and serving as a general in the Liberation Army of the South during the Mexican Revolution. He stood up for the rights of his countrymen, demanding land reform, addressing social injustices, and leading successful militaristic campaigns. The line is essentially saying, get with the program, everybody. Be a De La O or continue to be an accessory to the war regime. And here's how we know. With these 3 lines solidifying it. Quenching the thirst of the power dons, that 5-sided fistagon. What is 5 sides? A pentagon, of course. The line is an ode to the country's thirst for war, represented by what you see on your screen. Prior to the chorus, Zach raps, the rotten sore on the face of Mother Earth gets bigger. The trigger's cold to empty your purse. From Benjamin Castle, it's continued warfare, frequently unprovoked, waged by the world's most powerful nations for gains that amount to finance over all else. In the other part, it's the continued plight of the common people on both sides of such conflicts. Then the chorus, rally around the family with a pocket full of shells, repeated 4 times. It's iconic and full of symbolism. There has been no clear-cut answer, but this is my interpretation. Same folks who believe they are pro-family values, pro-nuclear family per se, pro-life even, are the same ones taking money from defense contractors who design weapons of war to wipe out entire regions of the world in the name of profit. The second verse. Weapons, not food, not homes, not shoes, not need, just feed the war, cannibal animal eye. I thought Paper's Owl put this quite well in their write-up of the song. It remains clear the government prioritizes spending on the military above all else, including its own citizens. They could give a damn about us because they take direct orders from the ultra-wealthy who run not only these companies, but aid their respective political campaigns and careers. Zach would spit, "Walk the corner to the rubble that used to be a library, line up to the mine cemetery now." Look no further than U.S. defense contractors making and supplying arms that have turned places of learning to decimated territories that are no longer left standing. Rage continues. "What we don't know keeps the contracts alive and moving. They don't gotta burn the books, they just remove them." A twofold line. Let's just start with the opener. Keeping the American public in the dark is met with open arms by those who benefit. And that is always, across the board, plain and simple. From the Nazis to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and many others in between, the practice of burning literature or taking them off the shelves is brought to light here. Lastly, while arms warehouses fill as quick as the sales, rally around the family, pocket full of shells. This one is rather easy. We stockpile weapons and continue to clog and take up space in these warehouses the same way the prison industrial complex does in this country. On the title of the song, Jay from Medium has an idea. It reflects this. A bull is an aggressive animal only stopped by force, as are the world's leading governments. These bulls are going on a parade to gain by any means necessary. With Zach De La Rocha's vocals, Tom Morello's riffs, Brad Wilkes' drumming, and Tim Comerford's bass, it combined for an ultimate classic on the United States empire's history of oppression and tyranny. The first 8 lines have become a symbol for not just modern-day policing, but its history and how some things have never changed. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Morello would then explain the song on Talib Kweli's People's Party.
The timeless quality of that song has to do with with Zach's brilliant lyric, and to me it relates to something in the Frederick Douglass autobiography, where Frederick Douglass said he was freed from slavery not the moment when he was released from his physical bonds. It was when master said yes and he said no.
Wow.
And that's you, I won't do what you tell me. It's
That's
like
right.
it's standing up against illegitimate authority wherever it rears its ugly head.
The song was released not long after the Rodney King beating took place in Los Angeles. It is clear from the opening line, Rage suggests that the power structures within society are inherently corrupt and that those in positions of authority are capable of perpetuating the same hate and discrimination they are supposed to protect against. Garth Richardson, seen here on the right, is a music producer who worked with Rage on this track. He'd tell Louder Sound, the King beating was a big thing for the city. Zach and I had a long talk about the power of speech and how whatever he needed to say, he had to say it. Malcolm X was a major influence in Zach's life, and this was not the time to back down. Thus, the lines, "Now you do what they told you," are blatantly calling out everyone who dare not question authority, who dare not question the systems in place, but stridently and passively march to the beat of the drum of the evil empire. The stanza also speaks volumes to us as Americans, to not question authority, to roll over when given orders, and how this has been passed down from generation to generation to not ruffle feathers, to not think, maybe I shouldn't go along with these atrocities, and that we are conditioned and programmed to follow the systems that are in place. And mainly, when it comes to policing, that they do not protect us. As a matter of fact, the Supreme Court ruled decades ago that they are not lawfully abided to protect us. It is about protecting the wealthy, the ultra-wealthy class, and it is about protecting property. Then the iconic chorus of the song, "Those who died are justified for wearing the badge, they're the chosen whites." The last stanza, matched with Zach's riveting vocals, are the fury and anger the band, like many, feel, though the public sometimes cannot express. From Louder Sound once more, Killing in the Name, unsurprisingly enough, was slapped with a radio ban across most US stations. The unedited video version was also censored on MTV. A majority of the band's success, by the way, would not come in the United States because they were essentially shadow banned. It would take place in Europe, And as Billboard's Timothy White puts it, rage produced a latticed wall of stridor so deftly woven that it's destined to be the standard for any audacious headbangers who dare follow. Zach would tell the LA Times in the year 1992, "I just felt it applied in the kind of message we were trying to put at the forefront of our music. I wanted to think of something metaphorically that would describe my frustrations toward America, toward this capitalist system, and how it has enslaved and exploited and created a very unjust situation for a lot of people.